Claiborne County Sports Zone is here at Claiborne High School today, and we've got a very special guest. It's the new football coach, Coach Lee. I've known Coach since he was a tiny little young man at the Tazewell Speedway, and we kind of grew up in middle school. I was covered in then and covered in high school, and now he's come full circle to be the new head coach of the Claiborne football Bulldogs. So, Coach Lee, introduce yourself and talk about your sweet little wife sitting over in that's shy to be on camera.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay. My name's Dalton Lee. I played football here under Barry Lyles in 2011, 2014. Been just about through the Claiborne football program all through. I've seen many different people, many different things. There's a lot of rich history here, from the Devils all the way up to the Bulldogs. But I'm super excited to be here. I was with Coach Nash at Cumberland Gap. He's a good friend of mine. We didn't win a game, but we those kids grew a lot. But I'm super excited to get here at Claiborne and be back home.
Okay, what was your role over at Cumberland Gap?
At Cumberland Gap, I oversaw the offense. We ran a pistol power spread scheme. A lot of the spreadsheets, I'm a big spreadsheet guy. Love organization, keeping things under wraps. If we're not organized, how can we expect the kids to get the most out of it? So practice is going to be organized, everything from top bottom, but mainly overseeing the offense. That's what I do.
What did you learn through your middle school coaching?
Middle school coaching. Kids, you got to be patient. You got to be patient with kids. Middle school, they're expected to learn a lot in 2 years, and it was fun. It was a learning experience, but it was rough. The kids, but just watching the kids grow from middle school to high school and being young men and growing up to who they are now, it's something great to see, and I love it.
What's your emotions about coming back to Claiborne?
Well, it's good. I love it. I mean, I've always personally been tied to Claiborne. Played here for 4 years, loved it. There's great tradition here. It's a great school, great people. I'm excited to work with Andrew McGinnis and Mason Goad, working all together in the athletic department. Craig Ivy's a good friend of mine. A lot of good people here at the school too.
Okay, what's the ultimate goal of the program? Your first year, I'm sure it's going to be being acclimated and getting used to your personnel. What's your thoughts about that?
It'll be a learning process. It doesn't help when your schedule gets a little bit harder due to realignment, but it doesn't mean anything. It just means we got to get better. The kids, I know the senior group really well. We connect very well. They know me as a track coach and an assistant football coach, but that's going to change quickly. We've got expectations and we're going to live up to it. So anytime we're doing anything football related, they're going to be given 100%. There's no goofing off. We will still have fun. You know, I'm there for them more than just a coach. I'm a mentor, but we're going to get to work.
Any idea who's going to be surrounding you staff wise?
I've called a couple people. I've talked to a few different people. I'm really wanting to make sure I get the right people around the kids. People that's not only going to make them want to be better, but also push me to be a better man, a better football coach. And I hope I can do the same with them. But I've got a few people in mind. I really want it to be a Claiborne imprint on our coaching staff. So people that are in the community, obviously people at the youth league done really well with that. I'd love to get some of them. They've turned that place around tremendously. But if any of them would love to help, I would love to have them. Wesley Nance is one that's thrown up. The kids like him. I've met with him some, played against him when he was at Cumberland Gap. But he was a great guy every time I've talked to him, so he's a good football coach too.
Yeah, he is. Let's talk about your system. Offensively, how will the Bulldogs look?
So offensively, our offensive line is going to be the root of what we do. We're going to run a power scheme. It may look spread at times, we may jump in eye, but the vertical run game is the best way to establish a football game. If you don't have a run game, there's not much passing you can do. But obviously, if we have a kid that plays quarterback that can throw the ball, then we'll lean more onto him. And obviously receivers as well. But fundamentally, our offensive line, they're going to understand the gap scheme we're doing, the zone scheme we're going to try and do, and we're going to push forward with that and see how far they can take us.
Are you going to do like a hurry up, or is it going to be?
We're not going to run plays in and out. There'll be a signal system and a call sheet that will run. That way, we can maximize our time in the huddle. I've looked at also running a receiver system with numbering routes, that would be something that would be a lot easier. The kids could know the first signal be formation and whatever number their route is. Just that way we're not having to huddle back up and go back and forth. But kind of a modified no huddle, I would say.
Okay. Defensively, you know a little bit about defense, but secondary, you're very adept at that.
Yeah.
Talk about your overall defensive strategy.
So defensively, it's hard to be a head football coach when you've not learned. I found that out really hard starting out with offense. If you don't know offensive line, it's going to be hard to teach an offense. So you've got to learn that part of it first. So I've been studying over the past few years what kind of defensive scheme I'd like to run. I'm pushing more towards a 4-4 with cover 3, and then rolling that one of those outside linebackers up to a 4-2-5, playing cover 2. Probably won't play too much man. We're probably not going to be as aggressive. Obviously, Coach Nash, he was an extremely aggressive 3-4 defense. I'll probably sit back a little bit more and let the kids react and then play. But predominantly staying in that 4-4 set, having 4 down linemen, it's tough when there's 4 down linemen. I've understood whenever I'm calling an offense that if they've got 7-8 guys in the box, it's kind of hard to run football. But that's kind of where I've shifted my focus towards. So we'll probably teach that principle. You can stack linebackers, go and change techniques for defensive line, but that's mainly what I'm focusing on at the moment.
What about special teams? Are you a standard guy, or do you want to do something a little creative?
I'm pretty standard. I will say whenever Barry Lyles is my coach, we run swinging gate. I'll probably run swinging gate. Really liked it, especially you could run at any point during the game. He always talked about running it. If we're on the 50-yard line, 2nd and 5, getting it swinging gate. It's something that I would like to do. I'm a little bit more creative in that aspect. I like tricking around with formations, but special teams will be it'll be technically sound. It's something we're going to practice just about every day, whether it's punting, kicking, catching, blocking. That's a third of the football game, and if you don't, it doesn't matter how good your offense and defense is. If you don't have good special teams, it could cost you a game.
What's your strategy getting players out of the hallways?
Players always. So you've got to make them feel wanted. You got to make a football environment where they have expectations, but we're also going to enjoy what we do. If I could teach them to love the game and love the process just as much, it makes everything so much better. And that's why it's important to have coaches around you that not only the kids feel wanted, they're not feeling like they're getting yelled at all the time. I'm not I can yell when I get mad and when things aren't going the right way, but you have to talk those kids through that process. You can't just yell at them. But I really want them to feel wanted. Want them to understand that at Claiborne football, I'd like to connect the Little League up and feel all those kids, they want to be wanted. Like we want them here. We want them representing our community. So I want them all. I'm not just a friend. I'm not just a mentor. I'm a football coach as well. So I want to be someone that they can look to.
Okay, along those lines, will you reach out to the middle school program and the Little League and get some common plays so they can be familiar with your base offense, we'll say?
Yeah, absolutely. I want them to – I'm not going to force them to run what we run, but I would love if we could get our system working up together, whether it's from the bottom top. Obviously, in Little League, you're probably not going to run, empty, a lot of motion, things like that. But if they could at least call it what we call it. So I do plan on hosting some kind of coaches clinic just for our county, Claiborne County coaches, if you're in Little League, middle school, whatever, and working closely with the middle school. But I'd really like for that middle school program to be a successor or predecessor of what we're going to do at the high school level.
Good. Talk about your interview. Andrew said you were the only one that come with a playbook.
Yeah, I'm very big in the preparation organization, so I wanted them to know what I was running and how it's format the best way. I've had a lot of iterations in my playbook and my scheme and calendar. I like to know things ahead of time, so whenever I'm running the offense, I want to make sure that I've got every nick and cranny ironed out, that there's no questions, there's no cross alignment when we're talking about our vocabulary on offense. I can't call stack one thing and then call it something different the other way. So you've got to have, I've kind of got a glossary of what I call it, why I call it. So you got to keep everything in line to help support the kids and not confuse them. Because if it's confusing to us, it's going to be confusing to them.
Exactly. Okay, I'm going to give you an opportunity to say something to Bulldog Nation right here.
Okay, Bulldog Nation, I'm super excited. I can't wait to get started. These kids are going to be loved. They're going to love each other. We're going to play hard. We're going to not only play for Claiborne High School, but our community as well. I want everybody that is involved or knows Claiborne football to come out and support these kids because they're going to work really hard all year. And Friday night is not just a celebration of their hard work, but they're representing us as a whole. So I'm super excited. I'm glad to be back.
Well, welcome back as new coach for Claiborne football, and thanks for talking to me, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you, Alan.